everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at the U.S. Black Chambers today for our webinar, Preparing Your Next Contract Big. We're really excited to have you with us, and we're going to spend time today talking with two great business owners that will help us understand their best practices when submitting bids for proposals to help you increase your revenue. On behalf of our president, Ron Busby, our board, chambers, and staff, we thank you all again for attending. And I'm Elisa Joseph, Director of Programs with the U.S. Black Chambers, affectionately known as the National Voice of Black Business. We represent over 140 Black Chambers of Commerce and small businesses across the nation, and are founded on 5 pillars of service: advocacy, access to capital, contracting, entrepreneurial training, and chamber development. Please drop your questions in the chat as we move forward for our panelists, and we will do our best to address them at the end of today's webinar. Hopefully we can get to at least 3 questions, as we got some really, really great information for you today. If you have any questions at the end of the web presentation you would like to ask that we did not cover, please email them to us at programs, programs, at usblackchambers.org, and we will make sure to get those answered to you by our experts. So I'm going to start now with introducing our great panelists today. I'd like to first introduce Daniel Griggs of ATX Designs. He is founder and CEO of the company and is a savvy business owner with an approach that involves creating strategies that focus on people first, then using digital platforms to connect those people with a solution to their problem. He is founder and CEO of ATX Web Designs, a web design and digital transformation agency based in Austin, Texas. And owners that come to Daniel are looking for answers to questions like these. What do we need to do to increase our company revenue? How can we generate more consistency and predictability in our revenue? And what marketing tools do we need to improve and implement to reach our business goals? And as such, Daniel has the privilege of helping his clients achieve fast, sustainable growth. His strength lies in his ability to quickly identify the challenges faced by small businesses and develop both short-term and long-term strategies to boost their revenue. And just keep that last sentence in mind as we begin to have our conversation with Daniel, because he will be able to demonstrate that firsthand for you. Secondly, I'd like to introduce Erica Dobbs, who is president and CEO of Dobbs Defense Solutions. Erica is an excellent example of putting your mind to something and leveraging your skills and talents to make it happen. As founder and chief executive officer of Dobbs Defense, LLC, she oversees a wide-ranging aspect of the company's daily business operations. A military veteran with over 35 years of leadership, management, and business experience, she provides leadership and strategic direction for her company across leadership, policy, and portfolio management. She's also responsible for the revenue growth, processes, and client delivery for the business. Her long-term vision is to bridge the gap between the company's traditional and state-of-the-art technologies, the government, and commercial sectors. Dobbs Defense Solution offers services in cybersecurity, IT consulting and management, and technology, training for dynamic operational environments. She's received an MBA and Master of Science degree in cybersecurity from the University of Maryland's Global Campus. And so welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks a lot for having me on.
Great. And I know—
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. And if you are able to put your camera on, Erica, that'd be great. I can't see you, so hopefully you're on. So I want to thank you again for joining me today. Contracting is one of the 5 pillars at USBC, and we are serious about helping our members and Black firms receive contracts, whether corporate or government focused. And so today we're talking about how to be successful in securing a contract. While being certified and having your operations and financial house in order are important, to win a contract requires additional skills. And we want to be able to give, as I say, answers to the test for everyone. As we're going through this, because we do have a few questions, I want to make sure we get all of your thoughts in. So I'd love for us to answer our questions as briefly as we can with some great examples. And I obviously want this to be a conversation between all of us as well. Again, for the audience, feel free to post your questions in the Q&A so that the team can capture them. So first, let me start with you, Erica. You won your first contract because not only were they impressed by you, by your knowledge and
Sure.
your experience, but you leveraged your military training and logistics talents in process improvement to solve their need. Can you discuss how building relationships was critical to your journey, how you started your contracting journey, and how it figured into your revenue strategy?
Sure. So basically, I decided to, embark on the journey of entrepreneurship. And so when I did that, I actually spoke to some of my colleagues that I had previously served with, and they had a need that needed to be solved. And so as a result of it, they knew my credibility in that space. And so they asked if I would assist them with meeting that requirement. And so my team and we assisted them with doing assessments of various software solutioning. And so out of the gate, it gave us very high-end past performance doing artificial intelligence and machine learning assessments. And so I will tell you that the best way to get started if you're starting out is to use your human intelligence, meaning your relationships. A lot of times we want to try to do a proposal or write something that we think or pitch something to someone that we think will be beneficial to them, but you don't really have the nuances to do that. And so I joined the team to help them fix that problem. And it gave us the opportunity to learn from them, to glean from their experiences as well. But more importantly, it was the ability to show our self-worth, which led on to more contracts.
That's great. So really sort of that understanding and that savvy to know where to really put your best talents and be able to serve
Yes.
the team effectively. And so
Yes,
Daniel,
and bring the right level of people as well.
Absolutely, team is really important. Daniel, when you started your company, you were sort of defining, a need I love your story of defining a need of something that you saw a business owner doing. And you were like, you know what, maybe I can help him be able to get more customers because I like what he's doing, but I know that people don't know who he is and don't have an effective way to reach him. So give me about 2 or 3 minutes on your ability to sort of bring this solution to this business owner from both your upbringing and your NFL experience and how that was critical to you making your first deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I played sports for a large part of my life. And so when I actually moved away from it and trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up, as my mentor told me, and I was about 25 years old, he told me just kind of take the same approach. And so I went the route of really initially web development and digital marketing. I had a roommate when I played in New Orleans, and I helped him set up like this organization, and I really enjoyed it. So that's when I moved into it and started doing it. And so for me to start getting clients, of course, because I didn't have any actual clients at that moment, I really took the same approach that I did when I was playing sports. And I got NFL and pro football opportunities. It's actually pretty untraditional in there, but I sent out emails and I called up teams. Every 32 NFL teams got a call or email from me. And so that's how I got my opportunity. So I did the exact same thing when I started my business. I looked up people in the local area for specific industries. I would see a truck going by. It could be a roofing company, a pest control company, etc. I would jot it down and I would go look them up online. If I could do something better than what they had, then I would give them a call, like a cold call. My very first client that I had back in 2015 was a pest control company. And I was on my way home, like a mile up the road from my house. I was exhausted. I seen their truck in front of me. It was wrapped. I seen a number. I looked up on my phone what their website looked like, and it was terrible. And I called him in traffic. I set an appointment for the next day with him. I went home. I looked up his stuff online. I created a mock-up. I pulled an audit of his website. I met with him. He was very impressed, and that closed on my first deal. And so we really have very similar approaches nowadays. And so for us, and I say that I was able to look up online and see the issues he had immediately. But for me, it's understanding, especially with small business owners, of understanding where they're at in their business, where they want to get to, and I have a gift of understanding. Okay, this is the problem. These are the solutions that you need. And so for us, it's a matter of going into our digital toolbox, if you will, and pulling out the best tools that's going to help them fix their problems.
And what I loved about what both of you said is, Erica, you talked about kind of the team that you were working with, and Daniel, you talked about sort of your experience with your roommate and sort of how that helped spark things. And so I say all that to say that there are times where we try to go alone on things and we really don't need to, right? And when we think about relationships, we think about them not only with who it is that we want to meet to sell our products, but we also need to think about them in terms of who we bring on our team, right? And so love for both of you to really sort of address this part as relates to relationship building. Not only when you build your relationships and having the right team, you also have to be thinking about, number one, what pricing looks like, right? Who are you paying on the team? What are the other tools and services you're going to need in order to fulfill a contract? And to do it in a way where you don't underprice yourself so that you can't perform effectively. Can you discuss that fine line in putting together a bid, constructing a bid, and your lessons learned along the way? And so I'd love to start with you, Erica, and have you join in, Daniel, on that.
Sure. So I won't take all the thunder, Daniel, I promise. So when I actually first of all, we do what we call the gate zero. And what does that mean? That means that we're gonna look at the opportunity. We're gonna see whether or not the opportunity is beneficial, like if we really have the right past performance to actually do the work. And then do we have the right partners? Can we do it by ourselves? Those are some of the things that we're gonna look into. And then we're gonna look at, do we have the bandwidth to actually complete this project? And then after we do that and we decide it works for us, then we break down each section of it to decide, okay, who's going to write this portion for us? Who's the right SME to actually do the capture for it? Who's going to be the PM for it on our behalf? And so we actually take the whole proposal and we break it down and we assign an individual to each section of it. And then that person becomes the champion for it to make sure that it's managed well, written well, that we have the right partners on it, or if we're doing it internally, that we have the right SMEs that's assisting with that process. And then we look at the most important thing we look at is the price right? Like, is it something worth us going after? Is the revenue on the other end of it going to be beneficial for our team? And so when we do that, we map it out by looking at, okay, how much is it going to cost to actually do the proposal? And then once we do this proposal, what are we going to pay the people? Are we going to be able to get the right flavor of subject matter expertise to come on the team to work? And then how do we map it out? And I would tell you that I took the advice of one of my colleagues when I first started my business. I said, what's your wrap rate? What's your what you're looking at as far as your margins? And so what I do is I typically will use that 2.0 benchmark for myself. And then I work my way down to where I need to be. But I always overshoot the moon so that you have a contingency there to be able to pivot. And so that's the way that we do when we're doing proposals. And so far it's worked out for us. And then more importantly, from a partner, I do the same thing. Like if I'm going to partner with Daniel, say, level of scrutiny that I just did for myself if I'm going to be the lead for that, because I want to make sure that if I'm going to join the team, is it more advantageous for us to join this project, or is it something that we don't want to work on and we have to do a pass? So I'm not one of those CEOs that will not say, no, we can't do this, because I believe in making sure that the work is good for our team and we're not entering into a relationship that we cannot perform. So Daniel, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you do the rest.
So I'll really piggyback on that. What she mentioned is a lot of hours. To summarize it for me, I'm huge on process. I like to get things done quickly, but there also needs to be quality that goes along with it. So for me, process is huge. If I start with the team, I immediately know that my content strategist is the first person that's going to review the contract. She's going to get me the necessary information so that I can do my part. I stay in my lane, and then everyone else on the team understands what their value is and what they should do. I know my weaknesses, and I know everyone else's weaknesses, and so I make sure that I position everybody to what their strengths are is going to give us the best ability to, if we're going to go and bid on this contract, if we're rather be a subcontractor or not, then we have past experience, we have all the things that's going to line up with it. For me, I am a very fast moving person, so I scan a lot versus read. And so I'm not the best person to go and review a contract. I know the things they're going to look for, but my content strategist, she's extremely detailed. She's going to pull all the things. She knows what I need to know, etc. From a tech perspective, when we need to pull in the right people, I understand exactly who we need to pull in. If it's my project management officer, the project manager, my developer, etc. So we're going to know the right people to pull in, but it really starts with the process of knowing who's going to handle this part, who's going to handle this part, and then of course it has to be a person that's like, okay, we're going to pull in these people, etc. If it's someone else that we're working in, such as working with, such as if it's like a subcontracting opportunity, we stay in great communication with them, understand what their part is going to be with it, what our part is going to be, and it has to be very clear with that. Even questions that we may send in that they may put on our behalf, because to Erica's point, the bidding process, you don't want to put yourself in a situation to where you're not going to make any profit or anything else like that. I've only had one situation to where I learned it the hard way, but that's all it took. And so from then I understood, okay, I need to have these things in line where we're going through these processes, and it's going to put us in the best position, not just to win, right? There's two wins that go along with it. There's one, winning the actual contract. Then the other part is, did we make a profit off of this, which goes along with pulling in the right people, having everybody there to accomplish that project.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask this question just based on something you said, which is, and I would think that this is an important part of this as well, is that you all understand your financial position for your company. You all understand how you're making money. You understand what you don't want to do, to your point, Daniel, to lessen your ability to make money or take a loss on something. Can you sort of talk about, and again, when we talk about team, I don't want everybody to think you have to go out and hire a bunch of people. Team can be the accountant you're working with. It can be the attorney you're working with. It can be, some of your, mentors or counselors that you're working with. Tell me a little bit about really understanding your own financial picture to make sure that you're able to perform not only at a high level, but you're able to make money doing it.
I'd say for me is that I have to look at a lot of different things. One, if it's a bid that we're going to bid on, what else do we have in our pipeline? And then who's working on those types of things? One of the worst things that can happen is that you don't perform well, and now you took a huge loss with that. So I kind of look at the pipeline with things. I have my initial team, and then if we have to have people that we need to pull in, then I have to understand, okay, what are the payment schedules like, having to pay them those different types of things, where are we sitting at right now? That's a really great question, because a lot of people will look at the total of, oh, this project is going to be X amount of dollars, but you have to look at, okay, what's the time frame on this? Do you have to have any form of capital beforehand so that you can get to point A, B, and C throughout that project? So those are things that I will get with my accountant, and then I like spreadsheets, and so I'll look at a spreadsheet, see what we got in the pipeline, and then kind of really look and measure, okay, this is going to take X amount of months. You can make a profit on it, but sometimes you got to understand, when will that profit actually come in place? That profit may not actually come in place for you until month 6 or till the end of the project, etc. So you got to be able to look at those things and measure it effectively. You can have it in your head or just jot down some numbers. I'll kind of go back to processes. You have to have a system in place to help you better understand that.
I would agree. I'm sure, Erica, you feel the same way. I mean, understanding your cash flow is really critical. We can write numbers within the spreadsheet, but you also have to know, to your point, Daniel, the timing of when money is coming in, and then what else has to go out in addition to what you might be doing on that project against other projects. Do you feel the same? Do you think the same way, Erica, in your process? for how you're working and understanding what your capital structures are. If you need a line of credit to start, kind of being prepared for what it might take for you to be able to deliver.
Sure. So, unlike most small businesses, I had the bootstrap, so I don't have to worry about the other piece that you just asked me about.
You're rare.
Yeah,
very rare
in
in that
regards
space.
to a line of credit. So basically, for me, what I do is I actually, I talk to my accounting team, my CFO, and I ask them, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what's needed. How can we actually meet this objective? And then they give me the gate zero on it as well. And then they let me know, okay, yes, we can do it, or no, we cannot. And so from there, I decide if it's worth us doing it. And then the most important part about it is that that I actually look at whether or not my team can do the work. And if my team can do the work, then we will actually decide whether or not we're going to bring in outside support or not. So that's the key piece of it, because a lot of times when you're doing proposals, sometimes your team doesn't have the expertise to go through the whole process yourself. So what we do is we decide, okay, do I need to outsource a portion of this? Can my capture manager handle this piece for us? And so I will then go to my team. I'll say, okay, can we afford this? That's the key word. You have to ask yourself, can we afford to have another team come in and do this for us? And if we decide yes or no, if it's a no, then we don't do the bid, because if we don't have the resources to do it and we can't afford to pay for someone else to do it for us, then it's a no-go all around. So you're like, as a small business, you have to be real with yourself when you're doing these proposals. You have to ask yourself, is it worth going after, or is it, something that we should just wait for and go for something else? And so I will tell you that for me, I'm a risk taker. And so I look at it from a strategic standpoint. And if it's something strategically that we're going to go after, I look at the big picture of it. Like, what is the so what on the opposite end of it? What is it going to yield for us as a business? So when you're doing a proposal, it's a lot of things as the CEO and as the team that you have to really put into play that a lot of people don't think about. But more importantly, you need to talk to your team to find out if it's a go or no go. I hope that answered the question.
Go ahead,
one thing I want to add on top of that is I also measure if I'm going to be involved or not and how much. Because as a CEO and running a company and you got other things that's taking place, it's very important to be able to look at that as well. We have multiple projects that we may be balancing. If I'm going to be a part of projects, I got to understand what's my role with it. If I'm not going to be a part of it, then I have to make sure I got the right person in place that I can fully trust and has the experience that's going to be able to take it from beginning to end and do a really great job.
Yeah, I think that's a great lead-in, Daniel, to this next question. And I'd love for you all to talk about it from the perspective of, I know, Dan, you do a lot of corporate work. Erica does a lot of government work. So I'm really trying to help everyone understand sort of the skill sets that you have to bring, because my sense is, and you will correct me if I'm incorrect, if I'm wrong, you're overseeing a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you're also principal of your companies. And for the most part, you might be really responsible for the business development, like who's the next client we're going after. And so that means if you're on that business development side as well, you've got to do some prospecting for new clients. You've got to sort of figure out, and I loved the way you talked about what you did initially, Daniel, which was really like grinding grassroots, on the ground marketing, to really determine, who it is that what your list is going to look like in terms of your prospects and how you're going to be going after them. And I would assume that there's some skills involved in that as well, which might require listening, might require research. What are you all doing to determine how best to prospect for a client? And when you get there, why you want to do that and what it is that you're trying to solve.
For
Who you
me,
want to go first? That's Daniel. Okay, go for it.
I'll say I'll say for me. So I've been in business for it'll be 10 years at the end of this year. And I actually did recently, this is around the pandemic time, I actually had to go back and I looked at every single client that I've worked with over the past years. And I really had to go and look and say, okay, who did we serve the best? We may have gave everyone results, but who were we able to give results to the best to be able to do that? Really establish them, and also who we worked with for the longest period of time. Because I've switched back and forth, and for me, I make a lot of sports analogies, but like it's really about getting reps. And the more reps you get, the more you understand who you work best with, who you do best for. And so we were doing a lot of contracts from a corporate side. We were doing a lot of contracts with really big companies, some fortune companies, et cetera. And then when the pandemic hit, they cut us off like really quick. And it was a lot of just outstanding invoices we didn't get. Well, the people that really came to us and stuck with us, I say stuck with us and we stuck with them, was small business owners in local areas that we worked with them in. Because we work with clients nationwide, but they do local services from a corporate perspective within their area. And so those are the people that came to us and was like, hey, we need to better this online. How do we do this because of the pandemic, et cetera? And we came in and put solutions in for them. So that unfortunate experience expedited that. But for me, it did great, honestly, for my business, and it really excelled us really fast because it gave us a very centralized focus on, okay, not just small businesses, but small businesses in these particular industries, such as home services, healthcare industry, franchises, et cetera. And so then we were able to put a really good laser focus on them and say, okay, these are the people we work with. We have case studies of how we've increased their revenue from point A to point B. Like, I'll give you an example. The pest control company that I talked about, that was in 2015. He was our very first client. Last year, we've been working with him from then until last year, and he ended up selling his company and exiting it out. And we did everything online for him. So it was a huge part of that. And we got multiple companies like that, from veterans that own landscaping companies. And we took them from, a guy was just active duty, he retired, and we took him from a few, cutting yards, doing landscaping jobs for commercial companies, big companies, et cetera. And it went from a one-man show to he has like a team of 10, et cetera. So we got an understanding of who we work with really well, who we got the results for. And then from a prospecting perspective, it gave me an understanding of, okay, we're going to work with these type of clients that have been in business for X amount of time and these situations.
Erica, what are your thoughts? Because I hear some real market segmentation in what you're talking about, Daniel. Like you truly understand your client base. And so, Erica, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so like his model is different from mine because remember I'm DoD. So in DoD, I
Absolutely.
target agencies and I target big businesses. And so basically for me, I look at who actually aligns with my ecosystem, who aligns with what I'm trying to do as a business and the service offerings that we have. And then more importantly, who can we bring more value to as a partner? And so when I do that so I attend like trade shows, I attend um, agency, small business events and things of that nature so that I can understand what their problems are. And then we can actually help with solving them. And I do that for large businesses as well. I attend their events that they're having. We partner with them. I talk with them. I sit down. I do the little sessions, they call them matchmaking sessions, but I actually study the client that I want to work with. I go to their websites. I look at, their mission statement, their values. I look at, okay, what are they really trying to do? They're in an agency that I know they're in, and I know that my team can bring value. Then I talk to them about it. And then that's the way I actually make my approach. But one thing that I value about my team is that because of the time that I served in the military, people know that I'm going to bring them value as a CEO in our company because that's just how I am. Like, I don't have to do anything. When I'm coming to the table, we're bringing you excellent all the time. So we're overachievers. So when we come in, we're going to make sure that if it's underdeveloping, If you're underperforming on that project, when we come on board, we know you're going to succeed because we take it to another level, and that's just how we operate. And so I will tell you that we work with some large companies, and my clients have said to me, Erica, because they actually went to the government and told them, because of Erica's team, our project turned around. So they actually, whenever I have a client to ask me for a reference, that individual say to me, you can give them my number because you turned our contract around. And it's not every day that a small business can have a $1 billion company say that on your behalf. But that's what we do because that's the value we bring to the table. So we value our partners, but more importantly, I value my brand. So I don't want to have my brand tainted by saying, oh my God, don't hire them, they do a bad job, right? So that's my approach with going into the that marketplace and making sure that we do well.
Yeah, so reputational management is key. That ability to have others like refer you because of your performance is critical. That need to really understand who your client base is, like who it is that you really want to serve, right? That you know you're best aligned with. I know you both mentioned a little bit sort of mission and vision and values. And I know there's times where not all of our mission and values align with who it is that we're working with. But I'm sure you try to find that sweet spot of making sure you're not compromising yourself in order to do a particular job. The next question I want to have before we close and we get to some quick questions. Do you all have any thoughts around like resources, websites, sources, those kind of things, kind of like the little, quick little hits that people can be utilizing today if they're thinking about going this contracting route?
So Daniel, you want to tell them from a because you do more industry side? I can tell you from a government's perspective. Here we go.
On the government side, there's so I get automated emails that come from specifically in Texas because I'm a hub certified in Texas, and so I get emails about contracting on bids for specific things that meet my services, as well as subcontracting opportunities that I receive from people as well, and kind of go through the details from there. Of course, SAM.gov, but mostly a lot of my focus is in Texas. If I go to SAM.gov, I'm still looking for very particular things that I can do best. I know the portfolio or past experiences that we have, so I really try to get more bids that are related to that's going to catch my eye more. And so when I go to the websites or if I get the automated emails, for the most part, I know pretty quick if it's something that we want to at least look into.
Erica, what about you?
So for me, so I have a different approach because I'm targeting government clients, government contracting. So I will use USA Spending. And so it's usaspending.gov. I'll use the FPDS website. So USA Spending will tell you if you're targeting specific work in a specific NAICS code or sector, it will break it down for you and tell you what the government is spending and then who the companies are that actually won that contract. So you can use that information to actually help pipeline. The other thing that you can do is you can actually search it and then you can download that particular report offline. So it allows you to help you to build your pipeline. The other thing that I do, I use the FPDS like at Com as well. So FPDS will tell you, you can search it and then it will tell you who are your competitors in your NAICS code. So I use that to learn who am I actually in competition with, which I'm really not, but who are my competitors, right? And what are they offering and what kind of contracts are they getting and what is this agency buying from them? And I really do a targeting approach. And then after I do that, I use a couple of CRMs. I use one called GovTribe, one called GovLint. So I go inside of those systems and then I actually will target work that way as well because I'm able to go in and look at, okay, it may have came out on SAM.gov, but let me go into this system, this CRM system, to see if there's more information that's not being posted out there or that's not readily available to us. And so then we will use that data to do just more, like you're doing market research on that opportunity and just hunting to find out, okay, how can we perfect it? And then you go to specific agency websites. Like if I'm targeting something inside of a specific agency, I'm going to scour their website. I'm going to look at all the different entities to see, oh, are they posting anything that talks about these pain points in this area? Have someone else, who else had that contract, and what are they doing wrong that the government may not like, or what have they done well that the government preferred as well? So those are all the intricacies that I'm going to be looking for when I'm actually going after work. And then lastly, the other thing that I do is I look at my competitors' website. So most people don't think about that. So I go to my competitors' website, and I'm gonna look at what they're doing, how much they want to talk about it. Guess what else I'm gonna look at? I'm gonna look at their profiles. I'm gonna look at their social media profiles. I'm gonna see if somebody wants to overshare, because some people like to overshare and get excited about what they're getting, what they're doing. So I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna target that. I'm gonna say, okay, this is what they're doing. This is how they're doing. How they doing X, Y, Z, things of that nature. So it's really about the hunt, right? Are you doing all the right things you need to do to hunt for this work? And more importantly, are you readying yourself to be that differentiator that you need to be, to say, this is why you want to choose me, not because of them, but this is why you want to choose me. So that's the way I do my process. I'm giving out some of my little tips, but I can't give out too many now.
Listen,
But
I don't want you to give away all the secret sauce,
I
but
can't
we
give away
love,
all the secret sauce,
we
but
love,
that's what I do.
we love the tips. We definitely love the tips.
But I get
I'll
that.
say
So that's the tip.
I'll say in compliment of what Erica just mentioned. I did the exact same thing, and I do the exact same thing. I did it a while back ago, but I do when it comes to competition. I remember when I first started, I went and I called different agencies that I knew was getting targeted by other people that were having proposals that we were putting in bids for, and I would act like I was a potential customer and understand their process, how quick I was seeing how quick they would put in a proposal. And so I just one up them and I would send in a proposal. I would, if somebody wanted a website or an app, I would get details about it. When I had a phone call, I would create a mock-up visual and everything. And it just put me way ahead of them. So I'm a competitor. I'm the same way. So like she said, if you want to put your information out there.
Oh
exactly.
yeah, you know he's he's definitely a competitor, and I think what I love about what both of you were saying is that this isn't something that you enter into lightly. Like this, if this is going to be a strategy, you've really got to work it. You've got to be really sort of investigative around what it is that you're looking to do. You've got to think outside the box on a lot of these things, and you got to have a level of confidence in yourself and knowing what it is, and knowing that you can really deliver better than someone else, right? And so we're getting close to closing, where we can maybe take a couple of questions. I can't believe this conversation has been so great. I can't believe it's gone by so quickly. We have a matchmaking session that's taking place in June, and so I'm hoping a lot of people who are going to be part of that matchmaking session are listening and kind of take some tips from you guys about the best ways to approach this revenue strategy. But as we close, just give us a couple of tips, separate and apart. I would say just sort of general business tips, sort of the general things an entrepreneur should be thinking about when they're thinking about contracting opportunities. They could be the basics, they could be out of the box. Like from your perspective, what are a couple of things that you think can help put people on the right track?
That's a good one. You gonna go first, Daniel? Go for it.
No, you got it.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, go ahead, Erica. You got it.
Well, I can only tell you about my experience, right? And so I will tell you that, from dealing with what I've dealt with, I think it's important to understand where you are. Like if it's your dream, focus on your dream. And as you're going out of the gate to deal with this, you have to think about, do I have the right support system in place? Do I have the right skill sets to go where I'm trying to go? What kind of team am I trying to build? You got to strategize, but you also need to look at the financial resources. Like, do I have what I need to be successful? So the tips is that if you remember the old adage, if you build it right, they will come. So you got to make sure that when you're coming out of the gate, that you're going to build something that's going to be successful. Don't look at your competitors when you're starting out. Look at yourself. Look at what you can do. Look at how you can succeed. And don't let no one deter you from doing it, because when you're starting out, you're going to have a lot of naysayers in your ears. You're going to have a lot of people that don't believe in you, that don't want to get you motivated to go forward. So I always tell people this: the only person that's going to invest in your dream is you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to the bank and they tell you no, guess what? They don't care nothing about your dream. You have to be invested in your own dream. And so I'm grateful because I had a great support system. That's called my husband. I tell everybody that's my rock. So my rock believed in me, because how many people started a business in the middle of COVID? I did that. And everybody else thought I was crazy. But you know what? He probably thought the same thing, but he didn't tell me that. He said, whatever you want to do, I'm going to support you. So if you have a great support system, I'm telling you right now, it makes all the difference in the world. But don't give up on your dream, because when you focus on what you believe that you can accomplish, guess what? You will get there. But you can't get angry. This is what I learned. Cannot be angry with other people because they don't want to invest in you. You have to do it for yourself. That's why I'm still bootstrapping, because I had people that discriminated against me, said things to me that I know was a lawsuit, but I don't have time to deal with that because I'm trying to build a dream. So if someone said, "Oh, Erica, that was a lawsuit," well, I don't care about that, because that's that person's own opinion, own social biases, and I don't have time to deal with you and your social biases, because I'm trying to grow a business. So with that being said, I stay focused on my dream. I can't focus on you telling me no, because you telling me no means you're not the person to help me. So you got to remember that if there are no's in your ear, run from them. That's all I can say. Run, because they don't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
my
love
take
that,
on it.
Daniel. Daniel, what are your thoughts? And we're going to get to a couple of questions right after that before we close. But everything you're saying, Erica, I think is absolutely on point. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
Really the same thing. I mean, your dreams, your vision, it's nobody else's but yours. And so you can't really expect other people, especially the mass of other people, to just hop on board with whatever direction you're trying to go. A lot of it has to do, especially from an entrepreneurship perspective and running a company, whether you're starting it out or whether you're doing it, it's a very lonely thing. My wife is a great support. My wife and I have 4 kids, and they're all very young, but I still got other things that I have to do in life, such as being a husband and being a father. But I'm a very focused person, right? And that's my life revolves around them, and it revolves around the vision that I have. And so for me, I keep it very laser focused on exactly what my vision is, and then I'm going after it. Hearing no for me doesn't really affect me. To be honest with you, coming from the path I had to go when I played pro football, I heard no all the time, like very often. When I'm in business, it's no, and then I move along, right? And so you got the vision in mind. You keep going, as I mentioned earlier. You keep getting those reps, but your vision is the thing that has to continue to propel you. Whatever that dream is, you have to get up and go after it. And it's not going to be something to where you're pumped up and wired up every single day, right? There's a lot of things that I do. Majority of the things I don't feel like doing when it comes to my business. But again, I'm working towards a vision. I'm not working just to work, so I'm working towards a vision. Erica started to give me a little congregation prep right there, like I start preaching.
both of y'all, yeah. I'm feeling this competitive vibe going on between the two of you, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. So let me do this. Let me do a couple of rapid fire things, because it might get to more points that you want to get to before we close. So the first rapid fire, this is really like, give me like, a really quick, like 30-second, 15, 30-second answer on this. How realistic is winning larger contracts when you don't really have a team? For instance, you don't have a proposal writing team and that sort of thing.
Unrealistic.
Yeah, very unrealistic. Start where you can start. Get a subcontracting project, start to build relationships, get the experience you need, and then build up to it. Shoot for the stars, but you got to shoot everything else starts to get there.
Yeah,
Daniel,
start small.
Go ahead, Erica.
Start small.
Yeah, I always think that it's important to win the $1,000 and $5,000 contracts first, because if you can get 10 of those, that's 50,000, right? Yeah. There's your past performance right there. That then sets you on that path to go to the 100,000, to go to the 250,000. to go to the 500,000, right? So I'm with you guys. I encourage the same thing. Daniel, this next question is actually for you. Will you provide more context into how you leverage that one dynamic, results proven client to create marketing to attract more clients?
If I'm understanding this right, what I did was I basically took the results that we provided for them and I put it online. I build really great relationships with our clients. So I may do webinars and invite others within the industry around that. We may just do like a Zoom thing and we're talking about it and we're talking about where they have them just tell their story and then where me and my team came in and helped them and filled in those weak spots that they had and helped them grow their business. So if you can track the data and results of what you actually did for them, when you present that, especially the way that you present it, then others will see that and then they can relate to it and say, I think this person will be able to help me as well.
Okay, this one is actually for both of you, so jump in. I'm going to combine the questions. What are your thoughts on getting on the GSA schedule? Do you recommend working with a company? And then also, do you use fedbidspeed.com? That's something that I do use actually to hunt for contracts, or do you use GovWin IQ platform?
Yeah, I can talk to the GSA schedule.
Go ahead.
So a lot of people sleep on GSA schedule. I would say to you, if you can get on GSA schedule, get on it today. One thing that I learned in the early stages of my company is that when you're going after the GSA schedule, you'll have a lot of people telling you, oh, you can pay me $10,000, $20,000 and I'll get you on the schedule. I'm getting ready to give you a tip. Go to GSA, they do it for free.
I feel the same way about SAM.gov. Like everybody, you'll get these things of people coming to you saying, you know, I'll pay me to do SAM.gov and I'll do your, so you can do all that yourself. You don't need to pay anybody to do those things. For free. Yeah.
And then once you get on the schedule, you want to submit proposals. You want to submit at least 3 to 4, 5 a week, you know, get on that schedule and just start kicking out proposals, start kicking out those RFIs, those requests for information, the source of SALT notifications, market research. They won't know you're there if you don't send anything in.
I would agree. This one for you is for you, Erica, as well, and then we'll close with one last question. Erica, you list your board of advisors on your website. Can you share why that's helpful to include on your site and what your requests are of your advisors?
So for me, I have a unique board of advisors. And so the reason why I post them on my website is because it gives people who feel like you need to have individuals in your corner to see that I have strong people that's providing that insight for me as a CEO. Not everybody believe in you. You know, remember we talked about that dream. So sometimes you have to have board of advisors on your site. I will tell you that each one of my board advisors, we meet individually. I'm a different type of CEO. I don't have my board of advisors meet with me at one time. I like to meet with each one separately. So that's the uniqueness of me and my team, is because each one of them are so unique in the way that they advise me. I think if I had them all in the room, I would be confused because of all of them being type A personality. It's like,
yeah, that is true. That is, you'll never get the answer you'll never get the answer you want, right?
Exactly. And everybody was a leader. So when you look at the people that I have, they're strong leaders in the industry. And so one thing I'm grateful for is that you know, they're willing to help take me to the next level as a business. And all of them, I strategically pick people that could understand me as a CEO, and all of them have experience touching military, either served or worked for the military. And so that's one thing that I did when I picked them on board. I just want to have anybody on my board. I want an individual that understood me.
Mm-hmm. This last question I'm going to take, and I'll just share it with you guys. You can jump in if you want, and we'll conclude with this. Is there a master template or skeleton you all utilize to structure your first proposal? Should I just seek out a pro to write the proposal? So we can go to the next slide. We're just going to show you some examples. I share this because USBC, we have a virtual resource desk and we also have contractors you can talk to for free, accountants you can talk to for free. I'd advise you to go to our site email programs so we can get you in there. We have relationships with a lot of different organizations. PTAC, which is now known as Apex. Those are folks that we want to be able to connect you with because they're the ones who can give you all of these resources for free. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel on anything. This is just an example of kind of what you want to include in the proposal and sort of just a really brief kind of cost breakdown that you'd want to do for yourself in terms of the line items that once you did your spreadsheet, you'd align to this, just as an example. But we have tons of resources for you. And I know there's a lot out there. Let us, again, I always feel like you can't do all these things yourself. You need people to support you and to help you. And so why search for all of that when you can go one or two places and get it, and that's what they specialize in. Work with people who specialize in the things that you don't have to specialize in. So with that, I'm just going to ask the two of you, do you have any closing thoughts? And then we're going to end the webinar.
So I don't have anything else to add other than, you know, soar.
I like that. Daniel?
The only thing I would mention is that to start where you're at. And somebody mentioned about experience. If you don't have a lot of experience, start with the smaller ones, build your way up. If you do have experience, fine tune and understand, as Erica was mentioning, do your market research, go in and find out who you can help the best and work with the best.
I want to thank you both so much for joining us today, for giving us just dropping these pearls and jewels of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your stories. It's going to help our business owners quite a bit. And I'm just so grateful for your partnership in this, for your leadership in what you're doing. I wish you great success with your businesses, and just excited about what the future looks like for both of you. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And I want to thank all of you for joining. As I mentioned, we're going to have a virtual matchmaking event in June. And so this particular webinar was sort of our lead into that to hopefully get you interested in joining us for a lot of the other things that we do. And so right now, I'm going to turn this over to Tiffany Eller on our programs team for her to go through a few things. There's just some key takeaways that we're just going to show some slides as she's talking through some of the things that would make sense for you, we hope, as you think about your future business success and how you want to grow it and where you want to grow it. So take it away, Tiff.
Awesome. What an inspiring, I feel energized webinar. You have no idea, Ms. Dobbs and Mr. Griggs, what you sharing your story has done to the listeners on this platform. So in the chat of this webinar, you're going to see that I shared a link to register for the 2024 USBC virtual matchmaking sessions, June 12th and 13th. We extend the invitation for you all to register and join us. This experience is going to enable participants to meet with corporate and government partners aligned to available contract opportunities, have scheduled one-on-one virtual room meetings, attend 3 pre-scheduled webinars to prepare you to put your best foot forward. Again, any questions on anything, you email us at the program's website. And email, Gmail. Criteria for sellers, I have all of your answers for your questions. Thank you for attending the Preparing for Your Next Contract Bid. Lisa,
and we've got a couple more slides. Tiff, I'm sorry to interrupt. We got a couple more slides as you're talking that we can share as well.
We can skip through, absolutely, Elisa, to Buy Black. Lisa, we want to talk about Buy Black. Okay, so U.S. Black Chambers introduced Buy Black, the first Black certification program. One more slide. Forward with a business directory, providing businesses that certify access to private and public procurement opportunities, highlights, and other benefits. There's that. This online program can help prepare you for your contracting space as a documents preparation guide. Okay, so certify today if you aren't already by visiting us, usblackchambers.org/certification. We can go to the next slide. And we have 3 different opportunities here. You see the matchmaking in the middle. Please register here for the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready platform for your very own free and self-paced training topics, such as access to capital, certification, and contracting. Last but not least, we're super excited to share with you US Black Chambers is thrilled to announce its national conference and 15th anniversary celebration, and is back at the prestigious Waldorf Astoria in DC from July 17th to July 19th this year, 2024. Join us for these events and upcoming events by visiting us at www.usblackchambers.org and register. You can follow us on social media, and we want to thank you again for joining us today.